This isn't about printing. It's about better results with over 90 offices right across the country in residential, commercial and rural.
Kia ora toto, no mai, haere mai. Welcome back to the New Zealand Secondary Schools Championships on this beautiful Sunday morning in Te Whanganui Tara. We are at the Porirua Barbell Club, and here with me this morning I have Teresa van der Vossen, and my name is Devin Glover, and this is session 4 of the Olympic Weightlifting Secondary Schools Nationals. How are we going this morning, Teresa?
Oh, very good, thank you. How are you doing, Devin?
I am feeling great. Had my coffee, ready to go, and excited to see some fantastic lifting from some very impressive females this morning.
Yes, there is some incredibly talented athletes coming through, and I think they're going to really put on a nice show for us today.
So currently the women's 71, women's 76 and women's 81 are standing up out back, getting ready to come in for presentation. So give us, do you know any of the lifters coming out today? Any fun facts about anyone?
Oh, I know a couple of the coaches out the back, and they themselves are some very talented athletes, so I'm very excited to see what their athletes are going to be bringing out for us today. A couple of these have some familiar names for me personally, doing a little Instagram stalking, but I think I'll just kind of let them speak for themselves, really.
Oh, I like that, yeah. With it's always good getting the old Instagram stalk. Some of these lifters put up some epic videos of their training, so it's quite cool to be able to follow them along in their journey and then see them when they get to the actual tournaments.
Good morning. Welcome
so we got the
group
session 4 is now coming out onto the platform or the papa, and we will be introducing each person as they come. So we have Letitia from Nelson College for girls is number 19, and she'll be competing. And then we've got
second lifter Sophie Sykes from
Long Bay College.
Our third lifter Chrissy Longmere from Rangitoto College. Paige Hughes from St. Peter's, Cambridge. Jeannie Tawera from Ngā Taita Whakarakura. Aliza MacArthur Honan from Avondale College.
Gabriella Napper from Epsom Girls Grammar.
And Isis Tobia Peter from Avondale College.
So those are our lifters for today. A little bit of a smaller session than what we had yesterday, but that just means it's so much more condensed and more entertaining for us to be able to really get to know the lifters as they come out onto the platform.
Yes, and it's going to allow potentially a faster turnaround for time as well. So we might see some lagging between different kind of lifters declaring different weights as well.
So a little bit quicker, a little bit more excitement for us to see today.
Yeah, definitely.
These are our technical officials and our referees being presented at the moment. Some of these technical officials are actually been at the Commonwealth Games to
and the Olympics too.
And the Olympics.
Yeah. So Barbara down the back, she is the referee who has the mask on. She has actually refereed at the Olympics, so she is not only probably the best technical official in New Zealand, but probably one of the best in the world as well. We're very lucky to have her. We are known for being great technical officials, even from little old New Zealand. So we're very lucky to have her for guidance.
Well, I was chatting to Richie Wong yesterday from Functional Strength, and he was saying how if you can get a lift in New Zealand, you can get a lift almost anywhere in the world, because we probably have some of the harshest refereeing, but that's a good thing, because it means that you're actually going to be lifting correctly, and if you ever do get into that international scene, you're not getting a big shock all of a sudden.
Exactly, and I mean, I wouldn't say we have the harshest referees, I just say that we probably have the best, to be perfectly honest.
Beautiful,
We
I love that.
lift to a high standard, and it executes well on stage, definitely.
That's a really a good way to put it, the best. And that's what New Zealand likes to produce, is the top athletes. You can see it in multiple different sports, how we compete on a worldwide stage, and it's starting to come through with our Olympic weightlifting.
Definitely.
Especially with the talent that we got this morning.
Exactly. So if you look at the screen now, you can see the athletes out the back, and you'll see Kaylee Ilkington is out the back. She is a champion New Zealand weightlifter herself. She has quite a few records behind her, and she's actually coaching her younger sister today. And so I vaguely remember her younger sister lifting back in the day, but I'm excited to see what she's going to bring onto the floor today, especially.
That shows they've hopefully got a really good relationship, because I definitely wouldn't want to be coaching one of my sisters in a competition at this level. I'd probably have my head bitten off.
I mean, no, they're a very tight family. Their mother is also a sensational lifter herself and is a remarkable athlete. So they come from a great set of genetics for sure. That's
fantastic, and it's really cool to see, keeping it close, looking after family, looking after the whānau, and yeah, we have the Snatch Session beginning in just over 7 minutes now. I'm going to do a quick shout out to our sponsors. We've got Caltex wanting to bring feel-good moments to our communities, which is why they're proud to partner with the New Zealand Sport Collective. Together, Caltex and the New Zealand Sport Collective aim to increase participation in the wide range of sports available to secondary school students, from curling to rugby sevens, diving to basketball, and everything in between. Caltex are supporting secondary schools from all around New Zealand with their sporting endeavours, as well as a number of national sports organisations who run secondary school tournaments nationwide. It is Pure Athletic, a leading apparel provider in New Zealand who deliver high quality, cost effective sports apparel solutions to schools. The New Zealand Sports Collective is proud to be partnering with Pure Athletic and joining its stable of other high profile partnerships such as the Breakers and Stephen Adams Teamwear. New Zealand Carbon Farming and New Zealand's leaders in carbon farming, with the reduction of emissions in production processes and increasing the sequestering of carbon in the landscape. New Zealand Carbon Farming Partnership will focus on directly supporting the communities in which their operations are focused, and Whakata Māori are delighted to partner with New Zealand Sports Collective and will become the new home of rangatahi sport for the next 2 years. Together, Māori Television and New Zealand Sports Collective will use their large community and network of hero ambassadors, national sporting organisations, companies, schools and students to grow awareness and values of sport and Māori culture to all New Zealand rangatahi and their families. So really appreciate all of the sponsors that have got on board today, and we really happy that we've got such a cool backing for all of the rangatahi who will be competing today. So in just over 5 minutes we will be starting the first session for the hikatahi, that is our snatch, and we'll be jumping to an ad break and we will be back shortly. Kia hoki wawe mai.
This isn't about cameras. It's about getting a better shot so you can get a better result. A great photo of your property is more important than a picture of our agent.
No time to fluff around today? No worries. Just swing into Caltex and pay for fuel with Pay and App to speed on through. Ooh, yeah. Feels good. Use it at your local participating Caltex.
Ladies and gentlemen, this downtown apartment is the perfect first property. Our vendors have a new baby, they're moving on, so we're selling this today. Do I have any more bids? One bid here, thank you. I've got a bid there. We've got one more here. Yes, we have one more bid. We have a bid here. Do we have any more final
This
bids?
isn't about just selling one property. It's about getting a better result for our clients, so we can help them with their next property, the one after that, and the one after that.
No mai, haere mai, welcome back. This is the secondary schools Hiki Mai Tai or weightlifting championships here in Aotearoa. We are at the Porirua Barbell Club in Porirua. Who would have thought that the Porirua Barbell Club would be in Porirua? It is a beautiful day here in Te Whanganui Tara. For once we actually have the sun coming out, and as they say, you can't beat a good day in Wellington.
Oh, absolutely stunning, I must admit. Drove through Transmission Gully myself this morning and it was a beautiful day looking at the beach as well, going over the hills. Sensational.
Yeah, so luckily we're putting it on today rather than like yesterday where it was pouring down with rain, freezing cold. So hopefully the athletes who are visiting the capital city of Porniki will be able to get out and enjoy some sunshine after their lifting because they'll definitely deserve it.
Definitely.
So Teresa, give us a little background on yourself and your history of Olympic weightlifting.
Oh, okay. So I first went to the gym in 2016, moved to Hamilton to study and started CrossFitting, as most weightlifters started out, and then decided that I really sucked at weightlifting and needed to get a lot better. So I picked up a coach and started competing and decided that I really loved weightlifting. So I've been doing that ever since, competing in weightlifting. It's been great.
That's a very similar story to quite a few people that I've chatted to. Is they started off in CrossFitting, realised that they needed to work a little bit on the Olympic lifting, and then got sucked into the Olympic lifting and went, I actually enjoy resting for 3 minutes between my lifts and not completely destroying my central nervous system.
We like to sit down between sets. It's definitely a worthwhile sport.
I think the best thing I ever got was I lift, I sit.
It's great.
Yeah,
and we can still call ourselves an athlete. How great.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's fantastic things to be in. And what we have just under a minute, about 30 seconds till our first lifter will be coming out onto the platform. And it's looking like we've got Eliza from Avondale College coming out with a starting weight of 23 kilos.
Yeah.
So you'll see once we get back on to the shot of the papa or the floor, there's a couple of blocks there to hold the barbell up so that it's actually in a good position for them to be able to start, because the bumper plates usually put you at the correct height for a starting position. So Kiwi's using their initiative to make sure that we get the lifters the best opportunity. So this will be Eliza's Hiki Tuatahi, her first lift.
great lift to start us off this morning. It's good to just get it out of the system, get those nerves off when you're on the platform. Some of these athletes have never competed at a competition before, so to be at a secondary schools championships under the bright lights and live TV is a really, really big thing to step up to.
Because it wasn't a requirement that they've had to have done a competition before, or?
No, so long as they understood the process in the background and they knew how things worked, it was fine for them to compete, even if they'd never been at a club competition before. So I think it's a really good opportunity to still expose young athletes into the sport. And it gets them a lot better being on stage as well.
That's awesome. So it's a bit of initiation by fire right there.
You either sink or swim, right?
Yeah, exactly. Run before you walk. So what's happening here is, for those who are back home and a bit confused on why Eliza is following herself, because the next weight to the starting is about 35 kilos, chances are that Eliza will be lifting in succession of herself 3 times. Potentially her third lift might be broken up by Paige, but she'll have 2 minutes in between each of her lifts. She'll be able to make a declaration on what weight she wants to go for, but by the looks of things she's staying at 24.
So you can see that she's gone up to 26 kilos now, so she must be feeling pretty good out the back. Kind of just got that first lift under her belt, more or less. So the barbell automatically goes up by 1 kilo, and lifters are dictated based on how much weight is actually on the barbell. And so orders of lifters isn't based on who's lifted first or second, it's who's going to next attempt the weight that is sitting on the bar, more or less.
And it's always quite a hard decision on what weight you're going to go for next. Always the opening weight is a case of nice solid lift that, as Richie Wong was saying to me yesterday, it was a case of 90% is usually a good starting weight, because you're most likely going to hit that on the day. And then the next weights is depending on how much you want to send it, really.
Yeah, more or less. That's a really good tactic as a coach to apply, for sure.
Solid overhead position.
Another great lift.
And the referees
the
are
referees
deliberating.
Yes, a great lift. Fantastic.
Fantastic starting position from Eliza. And lovely overhead finish. So it's looking like she will be lifting succession of herself once again. She'll have 30 seconds to automatically the weight will go to 27, and then she's got about 30 seconds in that first 2 minutes to make a declaration of what she would like to go, and then she's got 2 more opportunities to change the weight after that, if I'm correct on that one.
Yes, that is the rules, yes.
Always like to double check with
absolutely.
my specialist commentator guests.
I must admit that being a coach out the back is probably a little bit more stressful because of all these very tight rules than being the athlete. I much more prefer being the athlete. Don't have to worry about all this technical stuff in the background.
It can be a bit of a tactical game, especially when there's a lot of lifters lifting around the same amount of weights, because you're trying to count how many lifts you've got until your athlete goes out onto the floor, and then all of a sudden someone decides to jump a weight and you're going, oh no, now I've only got 3 lifts.
Yeah, absolutely. I myself have been caught out for that at Nationals a couple of years ago, and had to slap on about 15 kilos onto a lift and just kind of hope for the best, more or less. So it definitely can throw athletes, and it's a really big mental game out the back for sure. People don't really know the background of that part of the sport, but it's a big part of it.
And here comes Elise for her 3rd and final attempt at the hikitahi, her snatch, and it's going for 29 kilos. So
she's been lifting so well to start the day.
good patience and waiting for the down signal from the referees.
And a good lift, 3 for 3. What a great way to start her day off. That's absolutely fantastic.
3 for 3 on the Hikitahi was ever elusive to me as a lifter for a long time. So the fact that she's been able to pull that out in a secondary schools national championships is a massive feat of its own. A lot of pressure. They got the lights on you, the live stream. It's pretty full on. So now the bar's being loaded with 39 kilos for Paige from St. Peter's, Cambridge. And she will be having her whakamato tuatahi, her first attempt of the morning. Looking ready to go. Out the back. Bar loaders are doing a fantastic job. Those who are unsure what they're putting on their hands, it's just chalk. Helps them grip the bar. That is a good lift. So we've got 2 white flags and 1 red flag. Would you like to explain the process around what constitutes a good lift for the viewers back home, Teresa?
So we're primarily just looking for 2 white lights, and that is at least the minimum we need for a good lift, or hopefully we're aiming for all 3 white lights. But if it's a no lift, we have 2 red lights or 3 red lights. And so that's just the referee sitting at each part of the platform, analysing different parts of the body to make sure that she's following the rules of weightlifting and executing the lift well.
So it's looking like Paige will be following herself with currently 40 kilos on the bar, but she does have that 30 seconds leeway to decide if they want to clear a higher weight, which usually is the case. Most people seem to go on 3 to 5 kilo increments when deciding on what weight to go ahead.
Yeah, I think it really depends on how close to their 1RMs they are out the back as well, how close to their maximal effort, and how nervous they are too, or how much of a weight cut they might have been doing in the background too. But everybody so far this weekend has been lifting really well, and it's been really nice to see such great lifts.
I've seen some pretty impressive jumps over the weekend as well. Some people jumping almost 30, not 30, that's a large amount, but like 8 kilo jumps in between lifts.
And we do very generally like to often see a lot of men jumping bigger weights, but it really depends on the athlete and how they're feeling that day as to what kind of approach them and their coach are going to execute, really.
So we've got 41 kilos loaded on the bar now for Paige's second attempt at the Hikitahi.
She had a lot of power coming into this first lift, so I really think that she's going to be able to execute this very strongly.
And now 42 kilos loaded onto the bar, just giving her a little bit of extra time for rest.
So much power in her lifting.
Unlucky it's a no lift. So we'll be able to see on the replay here and might be able to give some insight onto why that was a no lift. Looks like to me it looks like the right elbow wasn't quite steady.
Yeah, so
motion.
we want to receive the barbell in a locked, fixed position. We don't want to be pressing or kind of breaking through any joints as we catch the bar. But also, referees don't actually have to tell us why they're giving us a no lift as well. So they might be able to see something else that we can't quite see in the lift.
It is a very, very technical thing to be looking at, and I definitely don't envy the referees and what they do. They have done a fantastic job all weekend, and it is probably one of the harder jobs for any sport, because you're making decisions that athletes are going to change the athlete's role in the whole event. And I guess it's all about following the rules, and that's all we can ask of the referees is to judge as fair as possible.
Yeah, exactly. And they have to work themselves up to even compete at a secondary schools championship. But we've had a lot of New Zealand records broken this weekend. So we want to make sure that, if it is a good lift, that it is a good lift. So, I mean, I don't envy a referee's job at all, definitely. But they are great at their job for sure. I love the spectators here this weekend, encouraging everybody. It's great to see.
Third and final attempt at 44 kilos. The referee's going to give us
a good lift. Oh, look at that celebration. She must be very pleased with herself. She's got so much power in the lift too. It'd be nice to see her in a few years' time. She's going to be pumping out some massive lifts for sure.
Yeah, it's really cool to see the celebration that you get from some of the lifters when they hit. I usually assume when they are jumping with joy that much that it's either a PB or close to a PB, a lift that they weren't sure if they were going to be able to hit it, and then you just see that celebration, the big smile, the fist pumps at the back. Really cool to see. And we have 47 kilos being loaded onto the bar for Sophie Sykes' first attempt from Long Bay College.
Smooth start.
That looks.
Yes, a good start.
So what you would have seen there is Sophie went into the full squat. I've had the question a couple of times from people who don't lift of whether it matters if you do a power or a squat. And obviously, as we've seen here today, you've seen a few powers, you've seen a few squats. And the important thing was that it's one fluid motion. That's a new word.
Motion. Motion. No, that it just needs to be one fluid motion to execute the movement for sure. I mean, you could actually technically do a split snatches now as well. We don't often see that. It is more of a common movement in masters categories, but it is still an approved lift, a split snatch. For those of you who don't know what that is, I suggest you start YouTubing that. It is a fun type of movement to try in the gym for sure.
Yeah, I think one time I accidentally went into it when I hadn't had enough coffee that morning.
She's hungry. 49 kilos on the bar.
This is awesome to see. So once again, Sophie is following herself in session. Later on the scoreboard, I can see there's a few opening numbers that are similar around, so we'll start seeing a little bit of a bar lock and a few competitive games playing out back of how they're going to structure.
Yeah, I think based on a couple of the declared numbers, we're going to see a little bit of pushing and shoving of different athletes, and that's when the real competition starts. It's going to be really great to see that.
But Sophie's looking going on to the big yellow plates. That's always an exciting moment for a lifter, is when they start being able to go on to the next colour up. So also for the viewers back home doing maths, I like to point this out because the first time I came to a competition I didn't realise, but the collars that we use on the barbells are actually 2.5 kilos because they're heavy duty, and they make sure that the bar is nice and safe and isn't going to be flopping around and making it unstable for the lifter. So that is in fact 50 kilos and not 45 kilos. Very smooth.
It's a great lift. She's very patient in the bottom position, make sure she's really receiving the barbell before coming up. It's really nice to see good patience through a good lift.
Really nice strong setup as well, which was really awesome to see in a lot of our rangatahi. They are obviously getting some fantastic coaching, and if you are back home thinking, oh, I really I could do this. Biggest advice I can get to you is get yourself a good coach. And there's a lot of gyms around Aotearoa who have coaches who know what they're talking about. Because the Olympic weightlifting is probably the most technical part of the gym, and you've really got to learn the technique before you start throwing those big weights on these
Absolutely,
kids.
yeah. And I mean, yeah, you'll see athletes who just kind of load on the weight and keep ripping it off the ground. I mean, I was one of those athletes back in the day too. But I think, when you take your time and you really learn to fine-tune the movement, the weights will follow as well. You've got to be very patient in weightlifting. It's a love-hate relationship between you and the barbell for years, to be perfectly honest.
It's still a love-hate relationship for me, and I don't know if it's ever going to go away.
Well, that's a challenge, right? Building a lot of resilience with these young athletes too, being able to stick at a sport, and a very technical sport too, but this, I mean, even if they played other sports in the background as well, like Olympic weightlifting is a very great type of training to support that too.
Yeah, you'll see a lot of the top sports, especially in the NFL and the NBA, a lot of them do, especially the power side of Olympic weightlifting, to increase their fast twitch muscle fibers to get a little bit more of an edge, a little bit quicker off the start line.
And it just builds their proprioception as well. Their coordination is just so much better than other athletes who have never been exposed to this kind of sport before.
Yeah, it's amazing what cross-training in different sports can do to help improve. We've got 53 kilos loaded on the bar now, and this will bring out Gian, and this will be her first attempt, her whakamato tuatahi for the hikatahi.
Fortunate, no lift. Can you please get the bar straight in?
That was some impressive shoulder mobility there, holding onto the bar for a second.
Yeah, definitely. I think she's just got those kind of early morning nerves. She's got 2 more lifts to be able to attempt that same weight or more. Yeah, you can see it just falling out the back there. She's got incredible shoulder mobility.
Bar is loaded.
But we can work with that.
I've always liked to have the belief that if it's going a bat behind you, it just means that you're too strong for the weight that you're lifting, and that you need to up the numbers a little bit, because then you'd be good to go.
I think it depends why she missed the lift, but I think she's definitely got a huge amount of potential to get that for sure.
Yeah, I've got the optimist view on all things that you can look at, and there's always a good reason for something. But no, definitely the looks like she's having a quick practice. Oh no, it's a different lifter. I thought it was her, just giving a quick practice in to reassess on the technique and lock it in, which we've seen a few of the lifters do over the weekend. Go back, have a quick practice on the bar and be like, this is what I'm trying to do. Get a good cue inside the head.
Yeah, and it keeps them warm too. If the athletes are jumping around out the back, keeps the muscles nice and warm and ready to go. So for a second attempt.
Bar stayed at 53 kilos.
Looks quite relieved. Get that over and done with, and it's a great lift too.
Flew out of the bottom position. That shows how strong she is and how much power she has in her legs.
Yeah, she's very fast at getting into that bottom position of her squat, and she's very patient too, very calm and collected. She's a strong Waikato woman for sure. Representing Cross Fit Porirua.
Oh yeah, great gym that one actually.
Very, very well established.
So we're keeping 53 kilos on the bar for Sophie's third and final attempt of the hikitahi. Another very patient lift and a very, very good Yeah, it's really awesome to see athletes being able to hold the tension under the bar, be patient, wait till they've got the right balance, I guess would be the word for it, underneath the barbell, and then standing it up with ease.
And it's good just to see them enjoying themselves too. Once you get that first lift out of the way, it's about having fun, really.
We now have 54 kilos in the bar, but it's
Going up to 55 now.
Giving Gian a little bit of time and bringing out Chrissy for her first lift of the morning. Chris is from Rangitoto College.
The bar is loaded, the clock is running for Chris.
Oh, great lift to start us off.
It looks like Chrissy's representing North Sport and what her lifting suit says on the front. Very strong overhead position. Looked very comfortable.
Yeah, it did. It looked like just a really nice, good lift to start us off. A great weight selected by her and her coach.
So the bar is staying at 55 kilo for Gian's third and final attempt of the hikitahi.
Great.
That is a good lift.
Nicely done, good patience. So sometimes the lifters have to wait a little while until the judges give them the down signal, and that's usually because the judges are still deliberating on their choice.
Yeah, so a referee has 3 seconds to be able to change their lift. So this is often going to happen if the athlete drops the bar too quickly. So they have to wait for that down signal to then drop the bar. And if they drop it too early, that's an automatic no lift. So they have the opportunity to change that lift that they may have put in beforehand.
Yeah, I've seen a few lifters being held there for a few seconds for that to come down, and you can just see them holding and battling with that weight above the head. But it's good to see the patience of the rangatahi who are lifting today. Now 58 kilos on the bar.
Got a full crowd to cheer them on too, which is great to see.
That is a good lift.
Another great lift.
He had 59 kilos of the bar. Or Chris is good.
You can see the coach in the background watching the lift, nodding her approval, so she was happy with that as well.
Yeah, you often see a lot of memes about the coaches in the background. They're leaning over, the coaches lean, and they're almost living the moment with the athlete, and it's exhilarating as a coach. Some of them have been very enthusiastic this weekend, and it's been great to see.
It's one of the cool things about Olympic weightlifting is that the coaches can be there out back. They can give advice while you're on the papa or the floor, and I think it's really helpful as an athlete to be able to have that coach there, just giving those cues, because I know in some sports that the coach is put in the coach's box, not allowed to talk to the athlete, and it can confuse a few different sports. People who know other sports think, oh, is that an allowed thing when they first come into the sport? But
definitely, and as a lifter, you know, you're midway through a lift, and just to hear that one cue of something that you know that you need to work on, and you're still working on in the background, it's like, oh yeah, I need to put the bar back, don't put it forward, you know, and it helps you keep really calm. It's great.
One of the other things I've noticed this weekend about some of the coaches, which is a really impressive thing, is how they'll have 3 or 4 different athletes lifting in the same session, and each different athlete gets their own special cue, and that just shows the
that's coaching though. You know, like it's not about the coach saying what they want to say, it's about trying to educate and let the athlete understand what they need to do. And that is coaching in its finest. You've got to find the right cue for each individual athlete, and it's such an exciting moment when you see that really shine through.
The one word that suddenly sticks to that athlete and they go, light bulb.
Yeah, exactly. And we want to have many light bulbs for sure.
So we now have 60 kilos on the bar for Chrissy's third and final attempt.
She's a very strong lifter.
Unfortunately, that is a no. We please have 65 kilos on that.
Very solid setup position.
A really nice, look at that setup. Nice and tight.
Just lost it ever so slightly backwards,
and that happens, you know, like that's just sport at its finest, really, isn't it?
And the best thing is that she'll be able to come back from that in her next competition and nail it. And it's such a good redemption feeling.
Yeah, she's definitely got that. I mean, if she had it out the back now, I'm sure she'd get it, to be honest.
So this will be Gabriella's first attempt at 65 kilos for the Hikitahi.
That is a good lift. If we hit the bar straight over the entitlement, please this will bring out Answers for the first.
It was a solid opening lift from Gabriella.
The bar is loaded. The clock is running.
Quite a nice bar path going up, nice and straight, keeping to the centre line. And now we have 65 kilos still on the bar for Izzy's first attempt.
What a lift.
Beautiful.
What a great opening. There seems to be a real big network in these colleges of, you know, girls lifting together. And it's great to see how, not only how strong and how well these ladies lift, but, you know, the fact that they're doing it in a school is just great to see.
Yeah, I really wish that when I was at high school that I would have had the ability to start Olympic weightlifting.
I think if I had even known what it was when I was in high school, I would have jumped in there way earlier. And the exciting thing is they're able to carry this on if they want to, and they've got so much talent ahead of
The bar is
them.
loaded. The clock is running.
And so now we have 67 kilos loaded onto the bar for Isis' second attempt at the Hikitahi, and
We'll see if there's a bit of a deliberation. We've got Gabriella, who's declared 69 kilos, but Isis might also be keen for a 69 as well, and that'll push Gabriella out for her second attempt, so we'll see what happens there.
could be the coaches could be being nice to each other and actually trying to give both athletes more time. You never know.
Oh, you never know.
I've
they
had-
might be in cahoots. You never know if they're out the back there doing
I've
that.
had one time where a coach knew that I was pretty smoked after a lift and I was going to be following myself, and they said, we'll give you a bit of time. It's just, yeah.
Sorry, which
It was-
coach is that? I'll just make sure that I'm lifting and I'm super tired whenever this coach is on from now on.
That was Matt Dyson being nice to me.
Oh, right. Okay, cool.
Good man.
Good to know.
Owner of 41 Degrees Weightlifting out in Petone.
Right, I'm going to come down here more often then.
68
68
kilos.
on the bar. This is going to be great. What a lift.
Beautiful.
Oh, see, and that just reflects it well. And look at those, yes. her friends celebrating with her out the back. So this is what I love, like all of these girls who are cheering along with her all compete as well, but they're just cheering each other on out the back, and it's just great to see people cheering and supporting one another.
I think that was one of the things that kept bringing me back was just the community that you get through Olympic weightlifting and hanging out the back with athletes. Every time I go to a new competition, I make a new friend, and you find yourself another training partner that you can work with. And
yeah, or if you're travelling around New Zealand, you know, you can hit someone up to be, oh, hey, I'm heading down your way. Can I just lift in with you guys, you know?
Yeah.
And that's the great thing about the sport, is that everyone there is just to cheer each other on as they're trying to do the best that they can.
Stop the clock.
70
70
kilos.
kilos on the bar, yes.
That's the big red plates, and I've been told that the red plates go on, it means the lifts get faster because red means fast.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, I
So-
swear there's at least, 20 miles an hour sort of speed added to it.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Just makes it that much better.
Yes. Call us Lightning McQueen, because we're going to go hot up the gate.
Yeah, it's probably one of the biggest moments, I'd say, for a lifter is when they first time hit the 25s.
Yeah.
It's kind of like hitting
Yeah.
the Hundy Club. Like
It is.
certain-
It's a big
certain
moment.
spots.
You feel like, yeah, big girl pants on
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Nicely done.
Another great lift. Her setup is just absolutely sensational. She's so composed as she's lifting too. It's great to see.
Yeah, and if you're wondering what those circular bruises are on her shoulders and back, that's what we call cupping. It's a myofascial release technique used by massage therapists to help release the fascia, which is another organ in the body which has probably only been found out in about the last 10 years or so. And it's a very effective way to help loosen up the muscles, make you feel prepped and primed so that you've got the best mobility possible coming into these lifts.
So weightlifters tend to have very, very tight scaps and back. So being able to release that to allow good mobility is super important.
This is Isa's third and final attempt.
71
The
kilos.
hikitaki.
Unfortunately, no lift.
That would be a no lift for her third attempt, but she's definitely got the ability to get under that in her next competition.
She has declared 85 kilos as her opening lift in her clean and jerk, so there is definitely lots of room to kind of make some big jumps there too.
Yeah, very, very strong athlete and epic performance today. 2 for 3 is nothing to be scoffed at a snatch in a competition.
Now this is a girl to be watching for, definitely.
His first attempt at 72 kilos. She's representing Nelson College for girls. She came out there like it was most people, take a bit of time to set up, just bang straight out there like I'm here to do business.
I think, yeah, some athletes try to not overthink it, and if they slow down, they start to overthink things a little bit. So it's good to just come out, just get the work done,
Yeah.
then get the treats after.
Yeah. Do the marty, get the treats.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So it's staying at 72 kilos at this stage for Letitia's second attempt at the hikitahi. And we have one more lift for Gabriella as well, who's declared 75 for her third lift. So 3 more lifts in the hikitahi session, and then we will be heading on to the hikirua.
Oh, she looks like she's got this. She's here for business.
Straight. Mine!
Hold! Hold!
Oh, Having to hold your breath in that lift, oh my goodness. What patience.
Some lifts just give you that kind of like, that kind of shiver, tingle sort of thing. You're like, oh,
And
come on.
you're just wishing and hoping, yes, hang in there, hang in there.
You could hear the whole crowd yelling hold as she stayed so patiently in the bottom of the snatch.
Absolutely. So I stumbled across this lifter maybe a couple of months ago on Instagram. Now I was blown away. Her technique was just absolutely sensational. And from what I understand, she's very new into the sport. And I'm just blown away already. She's so young and she's got so much talent just waiting to be tapped, really.
And we have Gabriella up for her third and final attempt of the hikitahi at 75 kilos.
Oh, look, she's smiling. She's excited. I think it's fair to say she's very pleased with that lift. That's great.
The little celebration out the back, and that smile as soon as she stood up. She was like, I've got that.
Yes.
That is a good lift.
That's definitely a good thing to convince the judges if there was any funky business going on, that, you know, she's confident in herself. It's a really great habit to actually have as an athlete, definitely.
I've been trying to work on my poker face. I'm not very good at it.
I can't say I'm that good at it either. I'm more of a puffer fish face, holding into a big lift.
Yeah. Bright red.
Absolutely.
Veins popping out the side.
Just try not to pass out because you're really hanging in there.
Yep. And here we go for Letitia's third and final attempt at the hikitahi. Amping herself up.
75 is on the bar. Oi. She is pleased with that.
Did you see that nod?
It was a
Did you
good
see the
lift.
nod when she was in the bottom of the lift?
She
That
knew
was
she's
awesome.
there. She's very pleased with herself. And I think the crowd and all of us are very pleased for her too.
There we go. Little nod there.
Yes,
Oh,
she knew.
She's like, I've got this. Some lifters, I found, even myself to be honest, I'm one of the ones who, if I get under it, I know I'm standing it up because
Very strong
squat
overhead stability.
it can go up and up and up. But when it comes to actually getting under the bar, that's the hard part. Whereas other people are the opposite; they can get under the bar all day long. And
But do they have the stability to hold the position
Yeah.
there and be able to stand it back up again?
So it shows that every lifter is completely different. And, but some fantastic snatching today in our fourth session for the women's 71, 76 and 81, and we're now got just over 9 minutes until the hikirua, the clean and jerk, will be starting. Lifters will be heading out back, having a quick re-warm up, a couple of empty bars,
Have a bit of a snack
weights.
break too, munch on
or
some carbs to go
very
refuel
important to get the food
themselves
in.
before it. Yep.
And we'll be just jumping to a ad break, and we will be back with you shortly. Kia hoki, wawe mai.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Yeah.
This isn't about long-distance calling, technology, or living overseas.
Do I have one more bid? Thank you.
We're going to go once. We're going twice.
And we are sold to the Kiwi phone bidder from Manchester.
It's about Bailey's finding buyers that others can't.
Whoops, running on empty? Enjoy a 6 cents per litre fuel discount at your local Caltex with Pumped every day. Ah, feels good, eh? Get it at any participating Caltex.
This isn't an ad about four-wheel drives. It's about knowing the place, as well as the locals.
You found the place. That's a good start. Built by my great-grandfather.
No mai, haere mai, kia ora toto, welcome back. My name is Devin Glover and I'm here with Teresa van der Vossen, and this is session 4 for the women's 71, 76 and 81 at the New Zealand Secondary Schools Championships in the Porirua Barbell Club in Te Whanganui, Tara, the capital city. It's a beautiful day here today, and we are having some fantastic lifting already as the hikitahi, the snatch session, has all been wrapped up, and we are now into the hikirua, the clean and jerk. So we'll be getting 3 attempts at the clean and jerk, just like they got in the snatch. And it's going to be a very interesting session by the looks of the starting numbers. The athletes are getting ready to go, and we've got just over 2 minutes till the first lifter comes back out onto the floor. So Teresa, as an athlete yourself, what would be your process of warming up for the clean and jerk?
Well, I think the first thing I do is carb up, make sure I've got enough fuel in the system to be able to carry through. I mean, for me personally, the clean and jerk is definitely where the mahi has to get put in, so I definitely need to fuel up after a snatch. We've got 2 minutes before we get started.
Just a couple of reminders.
I think for me personally, I'm usually very warm after the snatch, so I don't need to spend a whole lot of time warming up per se. It's more about keeping me completely calm from not having a meltdown out the back. So it's more just my coach pep talking me, you know, half the time to say, chill out, T, you got this.
It's all good.
Yeah.
Just calm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as you can see here on the screen, if you're new to the Olympic weightlifting and you're a little bit unsure of how the order works, it's not actually in order of 1 to 8. It's depending on how the barbell is loaded and what your first weight declared is. So first lifter coming up will be Elise, and she will be starting at 35 kilos and followed by Paige at 40 kilos. So depending on what weights get declared by the lifters and their coaches will be depending on how the lifts go in succession of each other.
Yeah, I like to think of it as it's just a competition of the barbell and a whole lot of athletes out the back going, well, can you actually lift that? Give it a crack, really.
Yeah, it's always the first lift is a case of you know you can lift that, and then if you get that, then it's unless you're going for a medal contention. I myself personally haven't been in a position to go for a medal contention before, so it's usually a case of last lift, let's send it. Yeah, right. So for those of you who potentially are new to the sport, there is a good chance to kind of really ruffle some feathers now. So the snatch is done, we've kind of laid down our beginning part of our totals, and we actually kind of place first and second on our total, which is the heaviest clean and jerk and the heaviest snatch. So some athletes might have really laid down a really strong snatch, so they've got a lot of kind of room up their sleeve towards their total in the background to potentially even go further ahead with their clean and jerk. And now we have Elise coming up for her whakamoto tuatahi, her first attempt at the hikirua.
There's a majority good lift, that's great.
Seems to be happy with that herself.
It's just always nice to get that first one out of the way and, you know, release all that kind of extra stress. And yeah, now you're getting into it.
You can take the time that you need. Once you've started the lift, the clock stops, and just for whatever time it takes for the lifter to get it above their head, as long as they do it in their correct motions.
Yeah, absolutely. But obviously we don't want to hang out there for 2-3 minutes in one position either, because that's going to take a lot of energy too. But yeah, the athlete has as much time as they need. Once they start lifting the barbell, it stops the clock. But they can actually lift it up to their knees and come back to the ground before they actually continue the lift again. The lift does not technically start until the bar has passed their knees.
That is a rule that I didn't know about, which is good to know.
Well, that's why I'm here to educate you in the background as well.
Exactly. Learning things every day.
Absolutely.
So we've got 36 kilos loaded on the bar, and it's just getting changed to 37 for Elise's second lift.
The bar is loaded and the clock is running.
Will the referees give that to her? Oh, unfortunately, a no lift. It was great that she took her time as she moved from the clean into the jerk, but unfortunately that is a no lift.
A little bit lost it forward there, right elbow. Had a good poker face on though, which was...
It's very important if it's a potential no lift to maintain the poker face. It is great to see the loaders changing the weights in between our lifts. We like to say that they are the strongest athletes of the day, and they definitely move the most load throughout the day. Get a bit of a workout in.
It's definitely one of the harder jobs.
I'd say it's the hardest job, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, definitely. And it's always awesome to see a lot of the lifters who've lifted previously the other day usually come back and help with the loading.
Yeah, like it's a bit of an unspoken rule that whoever's going to be competing, you know, whatever it's a club or a school, everybody is participating and assisting and running the event in the background. So a lot of the loaders today were actually their top athletes from their schools who lifted yesterday. So it's great to see them participating.
That's fantastic. It's surprising that they've still got some energy left in the tank, but I guess that's what you get when you're still a teenager.
Yeah, plenty of energy, right? They haven't hit the 20s crisis yet.
Here we go, 37 kilos for Elise's third and final attempt of the hikirua and last lift of the day.
Just needed a bit of a reminder. Her feet have to come back together and be in line for her to finish the lift, but love to seeing that effort coming through.
Once again, lots of patience in the jerk position, well, the jerk rack position, should I say, and finish it off with a really, really strong jerk. And the judges were happy with the 3 white lights.
Yep, absolutely. Just need to make sure that our feet come back together. They don't have to be, you know, heels together, side by side. They just need to be in line together. And at the Commonwealth Games, you saw a couple of athletes get some really nice push jerks in, but their feet were, you know, way out the side of the line of their shoulders, but they were still in line.
Yeah.
So it was a good, real technical advantage.
We've got Paige coming in for her whakamoto tuatahi. First attempt for the hikirua. A nice recovery, was going sideways, managed to hold that overhead tension even with a slight loss of balance.
Yeah. They've got some really good athletes actually at St. Peter's, Cambridge. A couple of really strong athletes, not just Paige. So it'll be great to see more of them representing in future years to come.
The bar is loaded. Clock is running. Stop the clock. We've
got 50 kilos being loaded onto the bar for Paige's second attempt.
Based on the other declared weights, the next declared weight from Sophie is 60 kilos, so I'd say that Paige is going to be following herself for the remainder of her session, unless she turns around and feels really, really great and jumps up to, I don't know, 63 kilos, say, but I think she will be following herself for the remainder of her session.
Can be quite handy, I find, following yourself, because you know exactly what's happening.
Yeah.
And you're like, right, I've got my 2 minutes, I can play the game a little bit, do a few increments if I need to.
Chill out a little bit too, absolutely. I completely agree with you there. It's nicer to follow yourself sometimes.
Whereas if you're following, you've got 3 or 4 of you lifting around the same weight, it's really hard to know, okay, how many more lifts do I have?
Are they going to pull out and just chuck up a drastically bigger weight, all this sort of stuff,
Are they going to stitch me up?
Yeah. Yeah.
So we've got just under a minute and a half for Paige to get back onto the floor. And they are putting 51 kilos onto the bar. So every time the bar loaders come out onto the papa, they stop the clock to put the weights on, and then they resume the clock. So it's
So every athlete gets the time that they actually are requiring, and this is where the background games by the coach becomes in play, because even though the clock stopped, we're actually buying that athlete more time.
Especially if you've got to change in big weights.
Definitely. Her coach, Gabby Peach.
Nice, sit tight, drive through. Push,
Crowd hanging in there for her.
See Gabby's smile
Hey,
in the
great.
background.
It's a good lift.
Now, 56 kilos in the bar.
So if you are based in the Waikato region, Gabby is one of the coaches that are available. There are a few other coaches in the Waikato region as well. There's actually a lot of really great opportunities to train there if that's where you are based and want to get into the sport.
So you can head to the Weightlifting New Zealand website to
Yeah,
find
you'll
any
find all
of
the
clubs
registered
around New
clubs
Zealand.
over there. Yep, definitely.
That's a good way if you're anywhere in the country and you're wanting to take that next step in your training and start throwing some awesome weights above your head and really empowering.
And look great while you're doing it too,
Yeah,
right? Yeah,
of course.
absolutely.
I think that's why she's got those awesome orange shoes.
Oh, definitely.
That's one of the things that I've been looking into, is trying to get myself a cooler pair of shoes, because mine are quite dull at the moment. I was really wanting
Means
to
you're
go
going to
for
get a bigger lift, cooler
Yeah,
shoes. It's like being a
exactly.
Power Ranger, powering up for a big lift.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think if I get red, I might get faster on the bar.
All right, Lightning McQueen.
Yeah. And so we've got 53 kilos now being loaded onto the bar for Paige's third and final attempt of the hikirua.
I'm really excited to see Paige continue in this sport. She's got so much power. She's still very raw based on her lifting. And give her a couple of years, she's going to be lifting some phenomenal weights, I'd say.
Stop the clock. We please hit 54 kilos.
We're going to 54 kilos. Paige is looking nice and confident in the back there.
Nodding. She's clearly got a coach whispering in the ears, reminding her what to do. She seems very calm and collected.
Right, let's go. This is yours. Sit tight, finish. Good. Right, drive through. Push, push. Keep pushing.
Very purposeful in her movements. It's great to see. And a great lift. Congratulations.
Big hug celebration.
It's just nice to see athletes just truly enjoying the sport and just having the time of their lives. It's great.
You hear Gabby in the background giving her the cues.
Reminding her what she needed to focus on to execute it well. Ensure she gets that good lift from our excellent referees.
Now we have 58 kilos being loaded onto the bar for Sophie's first attempt from Long Bay College. Sophie is in the under 15s female 76 weight category.
Up strong push. Take your time. Use your legs.
A very quick dip and drive to finish off her jerk. But a great lift overall. Sorry?
I was saying, you can see Richie in the background there, keeping a very good eye on the lift.
Reminding the athletes to take their time. Even though they've got an overhead, they haven't actually finished that until the referees call it a down movement. So they've got to really keep pushing through to maintain that good overhead position. We can see we've got some big plates being loaded on with our very fast loaders from Shirley Boys High School.
Yep, the big blue 20s loading us up to 60 kilos.
Yes. Some of these loaders actually broke some New Zealand records yesterday in their sessions, which was great to see.
It's always fun getting behind someone going an attempt for a New Zealand record.
It's exhilarating, to be perfectly honest.
One of the unique things about Sophie's position right now is that she's actually, by the looks of it, is the only one in her weight class.
In age class.
So that means she's going up against herself, essentially.
Mm.
So there's a couple of different goals that a lot of lifters have. Some of it's going for a 6 for 6. It could be qualification for the nationals at the end of the year for senior, juniors and masters.
I'd say some of these athletes
will be going.
Will definitely be attending nationals. So even though they are what we call a junior athlete, we still need to obtain a minimum C grade to be able to qualify to compete at a national event. And some of these athletes are definitely pushing those numbers, so they're going to give us older athletes a bit of a run for our money and keep us on our toes.
And they recover a lot faster than we do.
Unfortunately, yes, they do.
And
they respond very well to training. So they're making mad gains while we're working hard for minimal gains.
Yeah, we get a 1 kilo PB and we're like, woo!
Yeah, the time of our lives. All right, so Sophie's coming out for her second attempt. She's jumped from 58 and going to 61 kilos now. Great overhead mobility, and there's a majority lift.
63, now putting 60 kilos, automatically going to 62 kilos, as that's if a lifter successfully completes their lift, the bar will automatically go up as long as there is not another lifter lifting that weight.
Yes.
Next lifter is Chrissy, who's declared 70 kilos. So even if Sophie does declare a higher weight, chances are she's not going to go for a 9 kilo jump. But you never know. We've seen it before.
Oh, yeah. And, I mean, she's got her last attempt left. She's got 5 out of her 6 left, all great lifts. And I think she's going to be burning the clock just to give herself that little bit more time. You can see she's using the massage gun to get in the hips and the lower back, just to kind of make sure that she's feeling nice and fresh for her last attempt.
Yes, the massage gun can be quite useful in a couple of different things. It's quite good for a rehab or a prehab use, but it also, with the vibrations that the gun has, brings a lot of blood flow to the muscles. So if you're feeling tight in a specific area, it can help mobilize and help make the body just feel a little bit better, and it will give that kind of extra edge to the athlete to feel better in the lift. There's nothing like trying to do a lift with a niggle in the lower back.
Yeah, it'll just let the myofibrils come back to their original positions in the muscular structure, and make sure that she's ready to go and let the muscles contract at their full potential. We've got
63 kilos in the bar for Sophie's third and final attempt and last lift of the day.
Take your time. Longer jump. Use your legs.
She's got 6 for 6. She'll be very pleased with that.
Not going to lie, I was holding my breath during that clean and she came grinding out of the bottom.
Working really hard.
Almost feel it with her as she was pushing out, and very good composure. Nice and patient before going into the split jerk.
Loaders are working really hard right now.
Yeah, bringing on the big 25s. You all know what that means.
Powering up.
Powering up.
Yeah.
The Power Rangers are ready.
Yeah.
So we've got Chrissy getting ready for her whakamoto tuatahi, her first attempt at the Hikirua.
So we actually have two athletes who have both declared 75 kilos. We've got Chrissy and Jen. And so we might see a little bit of pushing and shoving in this here. We'll see how this happens. Very patient, works she's a very nice lifter.
Beautiful bottom position of the squat.
She's very nice foot position. She isn't too far wide or too close. She's got it's a really nice squat based on her biomechanics.
The bar is loaded.
So the bar now has 76 kilos. So Jen has decided to go from 75 to 76 for her opener. Might be a bit of a tactical play there.
Her coach and older sister out the back, talking her through it. Great lift to start her off.
So it's actually quite close between Chrissy and Jenny's in the snatch. It was only a couple of kilos between them.
Yes, so they're going to be really fighting out as to who's going to be taking third or fourth place. So, I mean, Chrissy's got 55 and 58 locked in for her snatch, and Jean's got 53 and 55, and they've both got 75 and 76, so they're very close as to who's going to take third and fourth place.
Only a couple of kilos in it.
The bar is loaded and the clock is running. Chrissy.
You wouldn't be able to tell if they're nervous out the back. They're both just very calm and collected.
Shows really good composure of an athlete when they can just pull everything in.
Get the work done.
Celebrate after.
She's very pleased with that, and it's another good lift. So Jean's declared 80 kilos, which is going to allow Chrissy for her third and final attempt and to follow herself. We'll see. Oh, she wants 80 now, so that's going to push out Jean for her second attempt.
So we'll see if Jean decides to go slightly higher than 80 or if she sticks with the 80.
The bar is loaded and the clock is running.
A bit of chalk on the bottom of the shoes, make sure she doesn't slip on the papa.
That is another great lift.
keeping the bar at 80 kilos for Chrissy's third and final attempt.
It's going to be very interesting to see what happens. They both have one lift left, and they have 1 kilo difference between their total, 136 and 135 at this point in time. So it's going to be very exciting to see what's going to happen. Yep, we're moving up to 81 now. I think she's buying herself a little bit more time.
It is a lot more taxing, the clean and jerk, compared to the snatch, because you've got essentially 2 movements that you're doing and putting them together. So I always find it's a lot harder on the central nervous system, a lot harder on recovery.
So
here we go for Chrissy's third and final attempt, and their last lift of the day.
Oi. Trying to hold it in, not get too excited myself. Let's see what the referee say. Oh, it's a great lift. She was so pleased with that. Oh.
That was an epic battle under the bar.
You could hear everybody sucking it in, holding, waiting.
Trying to hold it. It's almost like if we hold our breath, it'll help her.
Absolutely. We're all sending our spiritual energy to help her through this. All right, so Jean's declared 85 kilos on the bar.
I think that 85 will get her that win by the looks of things.
It's also going to buy her a little bit more time to rest as well. So this is going to bring out Isis for her first attempt. Big crew cheering her on from Avondale.
There's been a big crew that's come down from Avondale for this weekend, so they obviously have a pretty good lifting scene there.
Probably had everybody from flying down to Wellington this weekend just in the one plane.
Yeah.
Almost like a private jet, really. Everybody's looking confident, and the referees agree.
A solid lift. Good first opener. Isis and Gabriella are in the weight class of 76, whereas Jean is going to 86 kilos, and she is in the female 71. The last lifter in that weight class.
Oh, my apologies. So Chrissy and
yeah, looks like they're fighting for first.
They were fighting for first and second. My apologies.
As you can see here on the board, we've only got a few more lifts left in the session 4 of the Secondary Schools Nationals.
Okay, can she finish this?
Unfortunately, that's a no.
Such an awesome attempt.
Great. Lots of cheering from the coach. So she is still going to get second place. But such a great effort. What a clean.
And it's quite a big jump that she had to go for. 6 kilos from 80 to 86. So that's quite a lot of load, especially when you're looking at in a percentage base on probably what her 1 rep max would be. So
I think she has the lift. You know, from definitely watching the replay, I think she's actually got the lift. She just needs to crack it out the back, really.
Yeah. Now we have Isis coming up for her second attempt.
Starting on the clock, 20 pounds,
And
90.
She's keen. She's going from 85 to 90. She must be having a great day out the back.
Yeah, we got Letitia's first attempt for the clean and jerk. Two of the lifters haven't actually come out onto the floor yet, Letitia and Gabriella.
She's
So
declaring 95.
looks like we're going to be having a bit of to and fro, a bit of barbell ping pong, as I like to call it.
That's a really great analogy.
Thank you.
I like that.
I came up with that yesterday.
Oh, congrats. Very well thought.
Yeah, kind of just came out in the moment, and I was like, I'm going to stick with it. So we've got 90 kilos loaded on the bar for Letitia's first.
Let's go! Come on!
An excellent attempt despite her weightlifting belt
Yeah.
unhitching during the lift.
That is some composure right there. Being able to
Absolutely.
hold.
She would have been entirely distracted by that during the lift, so then to rein it back in. So she was thinking, no, 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 but hasn't been finished yet. She's got to put the money in still.
I believe they've got a second Velcro on the inside of the belt so it doesn't come flying off. If it does, the top part loose doesn't come off. I've never used a Velcro belt because the first time I did it popped off during a squat. So
Right, yes, that is true. So you can see this athlete, she's adjusted that first layer of Velcro and retightening with her second layer.
90 kilos on the bar as well for Isis's second attempt.
All the rest agree. A good lift. And the crowd is whooping and cheering. It's absolutely fantastic.
Great composure. Resets the grip. Very good shoulder stability, holding that in place. It's always the hardest part once you get it up there, actually holding it so that your elbows don't rebend and you've got that much weight above your head. I mean, these ladies are under 76 kilos and they're throwing 90 kilos above their head.
And they're not even 18,
Yeah,
you know?
that's so impressive.
That is remarkable.
So we have 6 lifts left in session 4. The bar is loaded with 91 kilos for Isis to follow herself and lift in succession. Got the jacket on, keeping the blood flow up, trying to keep a bit warm so we don't cool down too much in between lifts.
Stop on the clock, 92.
Going for 92 now for Isis' third and final attempt.
The bar is loaded and the clock is running. Nice.
Atmosphere, everyone's amping to see this lift.
You can almost feel them holding their breath, waiting in anticipation
Stop on the
now.
clock.
3, here we go.
So we've got some more Avondale College athletes sneaking out the back to come and watch this very quickly.
I believe I just heard the announcer say that this is a youth record attempt by...
Was it? Well, I would say so based on this crowd.
76 youth attempt.
Are you ready to hold your breath?
I'm ready to hold my breath.
Yeah, okay. She still has. Oh no, that was her last lift, unfortunately.
But
I was looking at the screen and I was thinking, oh, I think she has one more lift left.
That was a fantastic clean.
What an effort. I don't know if you spectators who are online right now listening could have heard the crowd screaming and trying to cheer her through that. It was...
It's one of the cool things about when someone's going for a really big lift, everyone gets in behind.
Absolutely.
Even the competition. It's
absolutely.
Just, everyone loves to see
a good lift,
yeah.
And a big lift too.
And we've got 94 kilos being loaded onto the bar.
From the sunny Nelson region.
Latia's second attempt.
Come on. Finish. Come on! Go! Try flat. Push! Yes.
What a celebration. What a lift. 94 kilos.
Got 95 kilos now being loaded onto the bar. I really like how Latia comes out and really owns the platform. I'm pretty sure I can hear her screaming mine, and so like, this weight is mine.
Yes,
like,
yeah. So her pre-performance routine has definitely got that in there. It'll help her maintain her composure as she's lifting. Now, Gabriella's opening with 95. This is her first lift. What a great first lift.
Fantastic. Got 96 kilos being loaded onto the bar. Gabriella's second attempt.
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, does that mean she's got in the 76 youth clean and jerk record? Oh my goodness, she's got up to 100 kilos. Gabriella just declared 100 kilos.
And we've got 97 now being loaded for Latia's third and final attempt for the Hikirua.
Can she finish this now? Ooh. What an amazing attempt regardless. Gabriella's moved up from 100 kilos to 103 kilos. She must be having such a good day out the back today.
That 95 looked
easy.
So solid.
Too easy almost.
Yeah.
It was definitely a first lift. Get yourself out there.
Yeah.
Get something on the board now.
And that 95 kilos clinched her the win for her grade for the female 76. So now it's just a case of being able to fully send it and see if we can probably hit some PBs is how I'd be approaching it in the back.
Just have the time of her life too. I mean, she's currently got a total of 170 kilos and she's still got 2 lifts left.
Representing Epsom Girls Grammar from Tamaki Makoto.
A good lift, 103 kilos.
So that is a fantastic effort from Gabriella for her second attempt. And she's still got 1 lift left in the tank.
So you can see in this replay here, she's kind of actually getting a little bit dizzy. She's got the bar right up against her throat, and you have to create enough space to not only recover and kind of catch your breath, but allow enough oxygen to come back in to reset through the midline to drive the barbell up overhead again. And having been an athlete that's passed out on the platform before, that's the last thing you want is to start running out of oxygen. So it's definitely it's a humongous effort that she's putting in.
I'm quite glad that I've got a background in underwater hockey, because I can hold my breath for a reasonable amount of time, so I've never had that issue before.
Well, maybe I need to start swimming.
Yeah, swimming is a great way to build that lung capacity and help you get through, but I have had the dizzy feeling on stage before, and that's never fun, especially when you're trying to get that big breath of air and you've got that bar right up against your throat. And then we've got 105 kilos loaded onto the bar. Gabriella's third and final attempt. We've just got about a minute 30 until she needs to come back onto the floor. And see the composure and beautifully
look at that.
stabilized.
She's working so hard.
You never really know what's going through an athlete's head in these stages on how they like to amp themselves up. We're going to 106 kilos. This is going to be awesome. I'm very excited to see her.
I'd love to know what her 1RM front squat is.
I would too.
Like,
I wouldn't be surprised
if she's clean and jerking, 103, going for 106. It'd be nice to just see her really working hard in the gym. Oh, shit.
And we're just going to, first aid is on the scene for Gabriella. This has happened before in Olympic weightlifting. I'm just going to quickly do a quick shout out to our sponsors while we wait for a resolution to happen there. We'd like to thank Caltex, Pure Athletic, New Zealand Carbon Farming and Whakaata Māori for all their help in providing what we need for the New Zealand Secondary Schools competition. Caltex is bringing feel-good moments to our communities, which is why they're proud to partner with the New Zealand Sport Collective, and Pure Athletic are leading apparel provider in New Zealand who deliver high-quality, cost-effective sports apparel solutions into schools. New Zealand Carbon Farming, New Zealand's leaders in carbon farming, being the reduction of emissions in production processes, increasing sequestration of carbon in the landscape. Whakaata Māori are delighted to partner with New Zealand Sports Collective and will become the new rangatahi sport of for the new next 2 years. So currently we are just waiting to hear what the next stage will be here at the New Zealand Secondary Schools competition. As you can see on the board here, where that will be a no lift for Gabriella's third and final attempt, and was the last lift of the clean and jerk session.
She is still responsive. For those of you watching in anticipation, to make sure she is okay. We're just making sure that we've got our sports medics team on here just to make sure that she's okay before we move her.
Got lots of very well versed people in the first aid in the Olympic weightlifting scene, as it is a requirement for a lot of coaches to be first aid qualified in their level 1 and level 2, and she is in very good hands. It looks like, and the main thing is that she is responsive. Coming up later, we do have our group session 5, which is the male 96, male 102 and the 102 plus, and that will be starting at 10:45, and after that we have our group session 6, which is the women's 81 plus, and that will be starting at 1:15 this afternoon. So definitely give yourself the opportunity to jump in and see some more amazing lifters doing some work. And
I'm just having a look through the list of athletes coming up for the rest of the day, and we've got some really great athletes coming through.
And that will be the end of the clean and jerk session, and the final lift of the session for Gabriella is back on her feet. She's walking again. She's feeling a lot better by the looks of things. So we'd like to thank you, our viewership, for watching along on Whakata Māori, and we'd also like to thank Caltex Pure Athletic New Zealand Carbon Farming and Whakata Māori once again. And that concludes group session 4 for the women's 71, 76 and 81 here in Porirua at the Porirua Barbell Club for the New Zealand Secondary Schools Championship. So thanks again for listening, and ka kite ono. We'll see you later. My name is Devon, and thank you, Teresa, for joining me.
No problem, I enjoyed being here.
We'll see you guys next time. Mate wa.